At the end of the day, have you ever sat down and the thought of intimacy and connection with your partner feels like it takes the absolute backseat? The desire might be there, but the absolute energy that it might take and what effort you feel like you might have to put in, it feels like nearly impossible. Amongst everything that you do with kids, amongst all the caretaking, life duties, and all of these things, intimacy takes the backseat. This is like very, very common, but I feel that us clinical psychologists are not sharing with people from the day-to-day about why this is actually happening and what to do about this. For anybody the first time here, my name is Dr. Piper Grant. I am a mom, I am a clinical psychologist, and I am the founder of Born into Motherhood. Throughout my work, I am always seeking to create spaces that are supportive and validating of the motherhood journey. I like to talk about the nitty-gritty. I like to talk about what we maybe don't talk about, and also talk about the highs, along with the challenges. So if this feels good to you, hit subscribe, follow, and I will see you weekly. So let's get into talking about what it is that I am saying. It's kind of like the hidden secret, I think. There is something that we call the exhaustion versus desire cycle, and it is just as it sounds. It is literally exhaustion v. desire. And it's something that a lot of couples fall into when they have children. But why aren't we naming it for people? Here's what typically happens. First, there is the physical exhaustion, okay? So when somebody has a baby, and it could also be, by the way, when you have grown, like preteens, teens, there's all these things that happen in the parenting journey. And so first there is this, in this part of the cycle, there is the physical and mental exhaustion that happens. And with physical and mental exhaustion, what we find is the body is tired. The brain is tired. And whether that is from caretaking, whether that is from duties, whether you have small children, big children, you are getting physically tired. When we are physically tired, it is hard to emotionally connect. So then what you start experiencing is emotional distancing. You start experiencing emotional exhaustion. The idea of emotionally connecting with my partner when I am so physically tired feels draining. Maybe like a chore even. Many times couples will talk about, yeah, to be intimate almost feels like it's a chore. What then starts happening is there's physical distancing because now we're both tired, we're physically exhausted, we've got a little bit of an emotional exhaustion, we're not emotionally connecting, and now we have physical distancing because we're starting to feel a little bit like roommates. No longer are you partners, but you're just feeling like co-parents doing this job together. And then what inevitably starts entering is resentments. Resentments or guilt or pressures. Because one partner might start feeling resentment about the fact that there's not intimacy happening. Or one partner feels a sense of guilt or pressure. And this only does one thing. It makes a further gap in the relationship. So not only now was there a gap, but now we're entering into something else that brings something icky feeling into the relationship. It's like no longer are we just wanting to be physically intimate with each other. We've lost a desire to be sexual with each other. We've now got this greater distancing. And once we have a greater distancing, the whole cycle starts again, right? Because you're like, okay, now I'm distant. Now I'm even more tired. Now I'm even more emotionally exhausted, even more and more like roommates. So what do we do about this? First and foremost, I think it's like identifying that this is actually happening. If you feel that this is happening, again, it's gonna be super cliche that as a couples therapist, I'm gonna suggest talk about it, communicate about it. But the truth of the matter is if you do talk about it, what it signals to your partner is, hey, this is actually a priority to me. Like, this is something important. I realize that we are starting to become roommates. And the first thing that you can do from that stage then is start to rebuild emotional intimacy. Rebuild emotional intimacy before physical connection. I think that this is one of the things that couples often lose. They think, okay, well, we've been together for a long time. We have a kid together. Of course, we've had sex done together, blah, 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 blah. We can just jump back into the physical. No. Because this cycle has made some emotional distancing. You've changed. You guys have changed. Your relationship has changed. So build in some emotional intimacy first. You do that through laughter, through checking in with each other, through communicating with each other, through really asking each other about how your day was. Not just talking about logistics of the kids, not just going through lunch schedules, not just going through activities, but actually ask about the other person. The second thing that I would say is start creating micro moments of connections. I love micro moments of connection, literally in my daily lived experience, but I also love them in terms of my practice. What I love about micro moments of connection is it's just these little small tidbits throughout the day where it's like, hey, I see you, you see me, we're not just here as parents, but I love you, we're connected. That could be an extended hug. That could be a kiss. That could be a quick moment to like laugh with each other over a cup of coffee as you're making it. That could be a quick squeeze. Whatever it is, just find these micro moments of connection where we get to remember, hey, we're in this together, right? We're doing this together, because that's another thing that starts to happen is you become co-parents. You forget that you're as a team. And I'm going to talk more about that. The third part is redefine what sex is. Some couples have this before having children. Some couples have to find this after having children. But one of the things that I think is that people get stuck on the fact that sex is supposed to be looking one way, intimacy is supposed to be looking one way. When you can redefine what intimacy looks like for you, what sex can look like for you, it can really expand what there is to play, what there is to talk, like to do, to even talk about sexually and intimately, but just allow yourself to say, okay, our life looks different. Our schedules look different. I feel different in my body. Maybe you feel different in your body. How do we want to be in this, right? So intimacy and sex, two different things, by the way, can get redefined, and we can move with them and play with them. The other thing that I think that often moms more than dads that I see, but moms will struggle with is allowing themselves to be desired again. I know that sounds silly to even say, but like really allowing desire to come into your life, allow yourself to be desired, allow your body to be desired, and find that. Again, find the ways that you would enjoy being desired. What all of these 4 tips do is that they help you remember that you guys are a team, that you are in this together. And that's one of the things in early days of relationship that people often forget about. They feel like we are a team where it's us against the world. We've got this. And for parents, they get really stuck in being co-parents, and they forget that they're actually a team. They actually forget, oh my gosh, this was a person that I chose and I really love. And that comes from overstimulation, that comes from exhaustion, that comes from all the things. But what I really hope is that by acknowledging this exhaustion versus desire cycle, you see how exhaustion really fights desire. And if we can find ways to mitigate exhaustion is going to be part of the motherhood. I wish that you could get more sleep. I wish that you could do more things that could probably be filling to you. But that's not always possible. But maybe through micro moments, through micro conversations, through prioritizing and seeing each other and knowing that this is important to you, you can fight that exhaustion by increasing desire. If this video resonates with you, hit subscribe, follow me on Instagram at Born Into Motherhood, and I'll see you next week.